it's all about perspective, right? Because as a small business owner, just 10 years ago, things looked very different, financially for you, your family. I know you guys you told me you lived off of food storage, like backup reserve food you had in your house, that it was, but
when the electricity goes off and crap. Not for when you have a partnership explosion or implosion, I guess.
I think that's really an important piece, though, because you were frugal, right? You were really careful with the money. One thing I know, a hurdle that a lot of small businesses have is financing. And you very rarely, in the whole time I've worked with you, had any kind of loan against the business. It's mostly been self-funded from business coming in, and then you move forward and spend that, like reinvest that money into the business, which I think is really a difference maker for small businesses.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that there's place for financing. I think there's place for equity, and I think there's place for raising funds and things like that. I guess we didn't, when we needed it, there's no way we could get it. I mean, nobody was going to give us any money. We had no accounts receivable. We had nothing, right? So we didn't really even have a company. So we weren't going to get money then. And by the time the money started rolling in, well, we were doing pretty well. So all we had to do was, pay expenses and live a little bit frugally for a few months. Our first year we did $1 million in revenue. And, so we did okay. And then we continued to increase every year. So we just never needed it. And I think we could have used some money to grow probably a little quicker, things like that. But I just didn't like it because it's overhead that I don't need to pay.
Yeah.
If I don't need the money, I don't want to go get it. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, that's something that I've noticed that helps with, security. I know when we hit this last pandemic, I don't know who you said you spoke with, but you spoke with someone who's in the know that said most businesses, even large businesses, can't make it more than 3 months. Like they don't have enough cash flow coming into the business to sustain the business. So a lot of those, government money. But when you and I talked, we sat down and made a game plan to make it 6 months to a year, just in case things were really messy. Yep. And I think that planning for your business and watching, one thing I've noticed in you too is that you see a market shift or something different in the space, right? It doesn't even have to be real estate related, but as a small business, watching the industry, watching things pivot and making adjustments. You've been really effective at that and making sure that that we're ahead of the game, I guess I should just say. I'm not sure the best way to articulate that.
I think if we were going to spend money, it was certainly going to be about moving ahead of the game instead of, and that's the other thing about not being levered out so bad. Like a lot of companies get levered out so bad and they've spent the money on things that don't allow them to pivot and actually kind of anchor them down. And then when it's time to pivot, there's no more money to pivot. And that's unfortunate.